You think she loved you because you were kind? Because you gave her attention, stability, and care? That's the lie you told yourself while she quietly desired another man. You've always been that loser, nice guy for her, someone she uses as a last option during hard times and throws away like a tissue when she's done. Here's the truth that hurts the most: the woman you gave everything to, your loyalty, your patience, your time, your devotion, never once lost sleep over you. But she did lose sleep over the man who barely acknowledged her. She ignored your long texts but stayed awake at 3 a.m. waiting for one cold reply from him. She yawned at your constant attention but felt butterflies when he disappeared for days. She forgot the man who worshipped her, but she never forgot the one who made her feel uncertain. And you know what makes it worse? The more you gave, the less she valued you. The more he withheld, the more she craved him. That's the paradox you've been living in as a man, the one that tears your pride apart. You thought being her safe place would win her heart. But what you really became was her fallback option, her backup plan, the man she runs to when the bad boy breaks her. Here's the dagger in your chest. She didn't respect your love. She didn't admire your sacrifice. She only used it as a cushion, a soft landing for the days when the man she truly desired left her empty-handed. That's why she smiled at your gifts but melted at his silence. That's why she brushed off your compliments but obsessed over his indifference. That's why no matter how good you were, she still fell harder for him. And if this truth makes you feel weak, betrayed, or humiliated, good. Because only when a man feels the sting of reality does he begin to understand the game he's been playing blind. The Machiavellian lens. Niccolò Machiavelli, the man who wrote The Prince, understood human nature better than anyone. He didn't write about love, he wrote about power. But if you pay attention, you'll see that his words cut straight into relationships too. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Now think about that in the context of women. She may say she wants the man who loves her deeply, but her heart and her body chase the man who makes her feel fear of losing him, fear of not being enough for him, fear of never fully having him. Why? Because fear, desire, and uncertainty carve deeper scars on the human mind than comfort and safety ever could. Love makes her feel secure, but fear makes her addicted. Here's the brutal Machiavellian reality: people and women, especially in matters of desire, are not loyal to goodness. They are loyal to impact. To the emotions that shake their soul, whether those emotions are pain or pleasure. That's why she forgets the man who gave her everything, but she dreams about the man who withheld. That's why she gets bored with the man who worships her, but stays obsessed with the man who challenges her. Machiavelli warned that men in power must never rely on loyalty, because loyalty is fragile. Instead, they must control perception, and make themselves too important to be ignored. Isn't that exactly what the so-called bad boy does without even realizing it? He doesn't hand her certainty, he hands her chaos. He doesn't give her predictability, he gives her unpredictability. He doesn't kneel to her desires, he makes her kneel to his. And in that imbalance, he creates what Machiavelli would call necessity. She feels she needs him, even though he gives her less. She feels she can't lose him, even though he's not fully hers. She feels she can't control him, and that lack of control consumes her mind. Meanwhile, the man who gave her his heart, his time, his soul, he created no necessity. He made himself replaceable by being too available. He thought love alone was enough. But Machiavelli would laugh at that naivety because he knew, people are not bound by love. They are bound by fear, desire, and the games they cannot win. Why the bad boy wins? You've been told since childhood, be nice to women. Respect them. Give them love, attention, and gifts. And one day, the right girl will appreciate it. But reality doesn't match the fairy tale. Because while you were following the script of the nice guy, the so-called bad boy was writing his own rules. And his rules worked not because he's better looking, not because he's richer, but because he understood what Machiavelli taught centuries ago: power attracts, weakness repels. Let's break it down. Unpredictability is his weapon. The bad boy never makes himself fully available. One day he's warm, the next day he's cold. One day he texts her back, the next day he disappears. This uncertainty is torture to her emotions, and torture creates obsession. Machiavelli knew this well. Fear of the unknown is the strongest chain. She fears his silence more than she ever valued your attention. That's why she keeps checking her phone for his reply while ignoring 10 of yours. Self-priority signals value. The nice guy bends his entire life around her, canceling plans, changing habits, lowering his standards. The bad boy doesn't. He puts himself first. His goals, his gym, his work, his friends she has to fit into his life, not the other way around. This isn't arrogance, it's strategy. Machiavelli said, "A man who tries to please everyone pleases no one." By not sacrificing himself for her approval, he shows her his time is scarce, and scarcity breeds value. He creates tension, not comfort. Comfort feels safe, but it kills desire. Tension feels dangerous, but it creates fire. The bad boy thrives on this. He doesn't reassure her constantly, he doesn't shower her with endless compliments. He lets her doubt. He lets her wonder. And every unanswered question, every unpredictable mood, every sharp silence pulls her deeper into his gravity. The nice guy killed the spark by giving her everything. The bad boy fuels the flame by keeping her chasing. Indifference is his superpower. Here's the dagger. She knows the bad boy can walk away at any moment, and that's exactly why she clings harder. Meanwhile, you gave her your unconditional love, your blind loyalty. She never feared losing you. And without fear, there is no intensity. Machiavelli taught rulers never to depend on loyalty, because loyalty disappears when people see weakness. The bad boy doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't depend. His indifference forces her to prove herself to him, and that flips the power dynamic completely. Here's the Machiavellian bottom line: the nice guy offers comfort, but comfort breeds boredom. The bad boy offers chaos, but chaos breeds obsession. One makes her yawn, the other makes her lose her mind. That's why she falls harder for him. Not because he's better, but because he plays her psychology like an instrument, while you were playing her fairy tale. Part 4: The psychology of her obsession. Ask yourself this: why does she remember the man who hurt her, but forget the one who healed her? Why does she replay his silence 1,000 times in her mind, but never once think of your good morning texts? The answer is brutal, but it's hidden in her psychology. Her brain craves uncertainty. Neurologically, the female brain is addicted to unpredictability. Every time he pulls away, every time he goes silent, every time he leaves her hanging, her dopamine system goes into overdrive. That what-if loop, that craving for resolution, hooks her harder than your constant reassurance ever could. Think of it like gambling. The slot machine is addictive because you don't know if you'll win. The bad boy is that slot machine. His inconsistency keeps her spinning the wheel. You gave her certainty. She knew you'd always be there. And certainty doesn't excite the mind, it puts it to sleep. She desires the man she cannot control. Control kills attraction. The nice guy makes himself easy to control, always available, always agreeing, always giving in. She feels safe, but she doesn't feel desire. The bad boy is untamed, unpredictable, unbending. She cannot fully control him, and that lack of control drives her insane. Machiavelli understood this. Power is not about giving people what they want, but about denying them just enough so that they never stop chasing. That's exactly what he does to her, and why she never stops craving him. Pain leaves a deeper mark than pleasure. Here's the harsh truth: the nice guy fills her with pleasure dinners, gifts, affection. But pleasure fades. It's like sugar, sweet in the moment, gone the next. The bad boy cuts her with pain, ignoring her, pulling away, making her doubt herself. And pain? Pain carves into the memory. Pain lingers. Pain attaches her emotions to him like chains. That's why she still thinks about him years later. Not because he made her happy, but because he made her feel. She needs to earn his approval. The nice guy hands over his approval instantly. She never had to earn it. The bad boy makes her work for every scrap of validation. And because it's rare, because it's scarce, because it's uncertain, it feels priceless. That's the paradox. The man who gives her everything teaches her to value nothing. The man who gives her almost nothing makes her value everything. So understand this: her obsession isn't love. It's psychological enslavement. It's the chaos of unpredictability, the sting of rejection, the hunger for approval she can't easily get. That's why she falls harder for the bad boy. Not because he's better for her, but because her mind is wired to chase the man who denies her peace. The painful realization for men. Here's the part most men can't stomach: she didn't leave you because you weren't enough. She left you because you were too much. Too much comfort. Too much certainty. Too much availability. And in the process, you killed the very thing that fuels her desire, the hunger to earn you. Think about it. You gave her love on a silver platter. You bent your life around hers. You offered stability, loyalty, and safety. But in her eyes, that didn't make you a man she had to fight for. It made you a man she could always come back to when her excitement with the bad boy burned out. The truth that cuts the deepest: she respected his selfishness more than your sacrifice. She valued his cold indifference more than your warm devotion. She feared losing him, but she never once feared losing you. And without fear, without the risk of loss, there is no intensity. There is no obsession. That's why she answered his calls at midnight, but ignored yours at noon. That's why she cried over him, but shrugged off you. That's why she can forget the man who loved her endlessly, but never escape the ghost of the man who gave her almost nothing. Machiavelli would smirk at this truth. People are loyal not to kindness, but to power. She didn't chase the bad boy because he was good for her. She chased him because he had the strength to deny her, to control her emotions, to make her feel the sting of uncertainty. You made her feel sad, but safe is the opposite of exciting. You made her feel secure, but secure is the opposite of obsession. Made her feel loved, but love without fear becomes invisible. Here's the dagger you can't escape: the man who hurt her will be remembered longer than the man who healed her. And unless you understand this, you will spend your life being the man women settle for, while they dream of the man they could never control. The Machiavellian lesson for men. Now you see it clearly. You weren't rejected because you lacked love. You were rejected because you lacked power. Machiavelli never sugar-coated human nature, and neither should you. If you want to be the man she remembers, the man she chases, the man she fears losing, you cannot live as the man who bends, who begs, who bleeds for her affection. Here's the law: don't beg for love, create gravity. A planet doesn't chase the stars, it pulls them into orbit. Become the center of her world by being immovable in your own. Don't aim to be her comfort, aim to be her challenge. When she feels she's conquered you, her desire dies. Keep her guessing, keep her working, keep her proving herself to you. Don't give her certainty, give her unpredictability. Machiavelli said fear lasts longer than love. In relationships, that means her mind will stay locked on you as long as you can't be fully predicted or possessed. Don't be the man who loves unconditionally, be the man whose love must be earned. Remember this: in the Machiavellian game of love, the bad boy doesn't win because he's evil, reckless, or careless. He wins because he understands what you refuse to accept, that desire is fueled by scarcity, tension, and fear of loss, not by endless safety. So ask yourself, will you keep being the man she uses for comfort? Or will you become the man she can't control, the man who bends her emotions, the man who commands respect even in silence? Because in the end, Machiavelli was right: power is never given. It is taken. And in love, just like in politics, the man with power is the man she never forgets.